Sarah remembered the day her mother took her to the park. She'd been 6 years old, and her mom had promised a playdate with Nita, a little girl who lived in the same apartment building. Sarah and Nita had played together before, in Sarah's room with Sarah's dolls. That was almost a year ago, before Sarah's dad left for work one day and never came home. The New York City park was full of children that day. It was sunny but still cold, with patches of snow in the shady spots where the sun hadn't melted it yet. After having been cooped up in the apartment for most of the past month, the children were full of pent-up energy and excited to be outside again. Sarah saw Nita trying to get on the swing set and ran over to her friend. Sarah's mom, Brenda, sat on a bench nearby, holding a styrofoam cup. She pulled a cheap romance novel out of her coat pocket and sipped the hot coffee. The sound of children squealing and laughing quickly became background noise as she was absorbed into the story's drama. "Mama!" came the childish scream, shattering Brenda's concentration. Her eyes flew to where she'd last seen her daughter playing, now just an empty seat still gently swinging. "Sarah!" she screamed, frantically hoping her daughter was just being bullied. Bullied she could handle. "Mama!" The voice was fainter this time, but Brenda identified the direction the sound was coming from. There. That man with the brown trench coat. He could be carrying something in front of him. She dropped her cup, her book, and took off running. Another lady standing closer to the man yelled, "Hey, you!" "Stop, mister!" But he didn't slow down or turn to look at her. By the time Brenda was within 10 feet of him, he was opening his car door and struggling to put Sarah in first. Sarah was still crying and slapping at him, but of course, he was stronger. Brenda reached down and picked up a broken brick laying on the ground and threw it, hitting the man on the hip as he turned. Their eyes locked. "Let my daughter go." Her voice was shaky but angry. "If you let her go now and leave, I won't press charges." Still keeping eye contact, she reached for another brick, but only found a large rock instead. It would have to do. More people were beginning to gather. Someone was holding up a cell phone in his direction. Nervous with all the attention, the man held up both hands and quickly walked away, ducking into a nearby alley. Brenda rushed to her daughter and hugged her close. She closed her eyes momentarily, feeling exhausted now that the adrenaline had worn off. She had no choice now. She and Sarah would have to leave the city. Even with the fake mustache and hair dye, she knew the man who just tried to take her child had been her ex-husband. It had been the same disguise he'd worn the day they'd kidnapped baby Sarah from a Seattle hospital.